was 3 outs away from clinching a trip to the Tokyo Olympic Games when it went up against Mexico in the bronze medal matchup of the 2019 Premier 12, and the U.S. unable to finish that stretch, knocking off Mexico. U.S. led it in the 9th inning. Game-tying home run by American-born Matt Clark, playing on the Mexico national team, and an eventual game-winning hit in extra innings on a broken bat flare from Efrain Navarro, which sent Mexico on to its first Olympic Games and put the United States here in a qualifier on home soil. And the U.S. going with a much more veteran-laden roster as it pursues the one berth from this 8-team America's qualifier for Tokyo 2020. Starting things off tonight against Nicaragua. There you get a look at the United States lineup as announced by the longtime Major League manager Mike Scioscia, as Luke Williams will lead things off out of the Philadelphia Phillies organization. Then it's the Boston Red Sox young stud outfield prospect Jarren Duran and Major League veteran Todd Frazier batting in the 3-hole. Eric Filia of the Seattle Mariners system is batting in the cleanup spot. He'll be followed by fellow former Major League veteran Matt Kemp, Todd Frazier's fellow former Major League veteran. Logan Forsythe is at second base, batting 6th. Tristan Casas, another young Boston Red Sox prospect, will hit in the 7th spot. Mark Colesvary, catching prospect out of the Cincinnati Reds organization, will bat 8th, and Nick Allen, a terrific young infielder from the Oakland Athletics, he will hit in the 9-hole. Nicaragua on the other side is piloted by manager Marvin Bernard, a 9-year Major League veteran who you see on the left of your screen exchanging the lineup cards with Mike Scioscia. And you can tell these two guys have known each other for a while, really like each other. I think that's one of the things that's really stood out from our first few days down here in Florida, is just how much respect there is between these staffs, these players, all of it. As you take a look at the Nicaragua defensive alignment, Dwight Britton is in left field. Ismael Munguia is in center. Juan Montes is in right. Ofelio Castro at third base. Brandon Layton is at shortstop. Benjamin Alegria is at second. And Manuel Meza is at first. Melvin Novoa, the Texas Rangers prospect, is behind the plate for Nicaragua. And on the mound, getting the nod in the first game of this America's qualifier for his team, is Carlos Teller. And this will be the only game that Carlos Teller gets to start on the mound for his team, because that was all Nicaragua was granted permission for from Carlos Teller's Mexican Baseball League team, Aguascalientes, which would very much like to have their star left-handed pitcher back in the fold for the start of the Mexican League season, which just kicked off about 11 days ago in Mexico. Carlos Teller was terrific in his debut start this season for Rieleros de Aguascalientes. He went out for his initial start of the year on May 25th at Laguna, went 5 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs, only one of them earned on 4 hits, fired 84 pitches, 49 for strikes, struck out 3, walked 2, was fantastic in that debut outing for his Aguascalientes team, but now gets a chance to throw on the colors of his home country, the Managua, Nicaragua native, who has gotten a lot of international experience under his belt with this national program over his time growing up in the baseball world, and a product of the Tigres, the Chinandega in the LBPN, the professional league in Nicaragua. And Carlos Teller gets the nod here this evening for Nicaragua. It's a matchup of left-handers. On the other side, going for the United States today, Matthew Liberatore, who just a few years ago was winning a championship for USA Baseball at the U18 level. As crazy as that is to think about, we remember these guys. He's got another member of his roster who was on that squad with him. And Tristan Casas, the first base prospect, who's batting out of the 7th spot in the order today for the United States. They were 17, 18-year-old high school kids just a few years ago in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, when the United States knocked off Korea to win the World Championship in that tournament. And this time around, Matthew Liberatore will get the nod to get his team started here in game number 1 of the America's qualifier. Going over the ground rules here at Clover Park, the spring training home of the New York Mets. 338 feet down the lines in left and right, 410 feet to dead center. We had a terrific matchup in game number 1 today between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, as the DR, the number 10 team on WBSC's international rankings table, held on to knock off Puerto Rico 5-2. That game was a 3-run lead going into the 9th inning. First 2 got on for Puerto Rico in the 9th. Leadoff singles by Kevin Luciano and Ruben Castro out of the 5 and 6 spots in the Puerto Rico order. But Dominican Republic closer Jairo Asensio rebounded to retire Edwin Gomez, Michael Arroyo, and Nelson Molina, all in order, the latter 2 by strikeouts. And that push the Dominican Republic into the win column in game number 1 of this 2021 America's qualifier. So the United States and Nicaragua will each try to equal that mark coming out of day 1 and move on to day 2. These teams will all head to West Palm Beach tomorrow. The ballpark of the West Palm Beach is our other host facility for this Baseball Americas qualifier. There was a thriller in the opening game in West Palm Beach earlier today as Venezuela held on to knock off Cuba. 6-5 was the final in that contest. Cuba had the tying run on in the 9th inning, but Venezuela able to hang on for the victory. 6-5 the final as we see our ceremonial first pitches taking the field. Dr. Timothy Moore, our first of some ceremonial first pitches today. We had Pudge Rodriguez in the house this afternoon for the 1 o'clock first pitch between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic as he fired in our second of 2 first pitches. So already a couple of really good games in the books and 2 1-0 teams moving on to day 2, Dominican Republic and Venezuela. Group B's second game is Colombia versus Canada, and we'll keep you updated on that one as a Nicaraguan baseball legend takes the mound. Dennis Martinez sets a fire in, what else? A first pitch, ceremonial first pitch strike, and perhaps the greatest Nicaraguan player of all time, and a guy who is the namesake of one of the most impressive stadiums in all of Central America, Dennis Martinez National Stadium, which opened in Managua in 2017, a 15,560 seat venue, and very cool to see Dennis Martinez here to fire out the ceremonial first pitch. Some big smiles, and El Presidente giving his hello to a loud and substantial contingent of Nicaragua fans here this evening at Clover Park. So we are just about set to go for first pitch between these two teams. The United States and Nicaragua have not met in international play for a little while. These two teams have not squared off since 2015, July 15th, 2015, in the Pan Am Games at Ajax Sportsplex in Ontario in Canada. Jake Thompson in that game struck out 10, gave up just 1 hit in 7 innings. And the United States, 6-0 winners, scored a couple of runs in the 2nd and 3rd innings to pull away in that game. Tommy Murphy, now with the Seattle Mariners, pair of runs driven in with a triple. U.S. pitching staff, just 2 hits given up and 0 walks in that shutout victory. For Nicaragua, obviously this is going to be a tall order. Being in, I guess, in a 2-group tournament, it's kind of tough to deem one group the group of death, but if there was going to be one out of the 2, it would be Group A, where Nicaragua finds itself with the United States, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. The U.S., the number 2 team on the international stage in WBSC's rankings. Dominican Republic, number 10, Puerto Rico, number 11. No slouches on the other side either in Group B with Canada, Colombia, Cuba, and Venezuela. But a tough draw right out of the gate for this Nicaragua squad going against the United States on U.S. home soil here in game number 3, technically, of this tournament. But that is something that this Nicaragua team does not shy away from. And their manager, Marvin Bernard, said in our pre-tournament press conference yesterday, quote, "We understand where we sit in this pack. We understand we want to have the same amount of firepower that everyone has, so we've been focusing on the little things. Those are the things that are going to help us out." And that's Nicaragua's emphasis. Play defense, pitch well, throw strikes, maybe steal some extra movement, some extra runs on the base paths. Do what you can to hang in against the firepower of the U.S. and of the Dominican Republic and of Puerto Rico. And we will see how Nicaragua fares this evening going against a veteran and yet still prospect-studded United States team as the U.S. leadoff man Luke Williams steps into the batter's box, and first pitch is on the way from Carlos Teller, and it is ball 1 at 7:03 on a Memorial Day evening here in South Florida. Thanks for hanging out with us wherever you are tuned in across the globe. WBSC's first of hopefully a very full calendar of international baseball here in 2021. We have missed it so very much. First strike poured in there by Teller. It's 1-1. I was saying in our afternoon game today, it has been 562 days since we last did this when the United States fell to Mexico in the bronze medal matchup and Japan knocked off Korea in the World Championship final of the 2019 Premier 12. That one just off the plate outside from Teller. 562 days between that day and this one, and it feels so good to be back in a ballpark, to be back with you, hanging out, watching baseball. The afternoon's crowd was incredible. Dominican Republic fans and Puerto Rico fans loud and into it, pitch by pitch, inning by inning, as the DR held on for a 5-2 victory over Puerto Rico. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the leadoff man, Luke Williams, currently a member of the AAA Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs in minor league baseball here in the United States. Pitch on the way to him on 2-2 is into the dirt, and a good leadoff at bat here from the 2015 third-round selection, Luke Williams. Williams, a pretty versatile player. He can play the corner infield spots at first and third. He's played a little bit of second base in his professional career. He's played the outfield. Played shortstop. He's played internationally for the Adelaide Bite of the Australian Baseball League. No longer the Adelaide Bite, now the Adelaide Giants. I'm dated in my international baseball names, and he works a leadoff walk here in the top half of the first inning. So Luke Williams making Carlos Teller throw pretty much the whole arsenal in his first trip to the plate. And the Phillies prospect is aboard at first base to lead things off for the United States, and that'll bring up Jarren Duran. Duran in the Boston Red Sox system, and a guy who himself has some very recent international experience, although not for his own country. Jarren Duran played for Puerto Rico in the Caribbean Series earlier this calendar year. He finished his Winter League season with Caguas in the Puerto Rican Winter League on fire, and then was outstanding in the Caribbean Series for Puerto Rico, batting .400, .500, .640 in 7 games as he takes ball 1. Duran off to a really good start with the AAA Worcester Red Sox in the Boston system. .278, .366, .625 his slash line through 18 games. And from the left side, a check over at first on Williams. Just a gorgeous night at Clover Park here in Port St. Lucie, Florida. U.S. fans, Nicaragua fans continue to file in. We're about 50% capacity here at Clover Park, and it has been loud throughout the day. I had an usher, one of the Clover Park staff members, say to me after the first game, said, "That's one of the best baseball atmospheres I have ever been a part of." And just a Monday afternoon game between a couple of teams with raucous fan bases, and he didn't really know what to expect and was very pleasantly surprised at not only how the fans were, but the quality of that first game, which ended up as a 5-2 Dominican Republic win. Another check on Williams over at first. The U.S. left fielder is back in. So again, the defensive alignment for Nicaragua, Dwight Britton in left field, Ismael Munguia in center, Juan Montes in right. Around the horn on the infield, Ofelio Castro at third, Brandon Layton at short, Benjamin Alegria at second, and Manuel Meza at first. 2-0 is back up the middle. That may have been off of Teller, and there's not going to be a play anywhere. Couldn't tell if that got Teller or if it got the rubber on the way back through. As Melvin Novoa, the catcher, walks about midway between the mound and the plate to check on his lefty. And even on that replay, still couldn't tell if that got Teller or the mound. Had kind of some weird knuckling action off the bat. And either way, it's going to end up as a single for Duran to push Luke Williams to second. And the U.S. already threatening here in the first as it brings in the veteran Todd Frazier. Frazier in the major leagues just as recently as a few weeks ago. Now here with USA Baseball, and he torches this one foul, sends the Nicaragua bullpen scattering down the left field line. 13 games with Pittsburgh earlier this season for Todd Frazier. Frazier was granted free agency just 18 days ago, May 13th. A one on the way is over the head of a leaping Novoa, and the runners will move up. So a wild pitch, charge to Carlos Teller, and all of a sudden there is a lot on the line for this lefty here in the first. What Marvin Bernard said yesterday, we just don't have the same firepower as everybody else in this group, and you don't want to fall behind early to them. 1-1 off the plate. Novoa keeps it close. Melvin Novoa in the Texas Rangers organization here in the United States, currently with AA Frisco. 24-year-old catcher. Guy who's got international experience dating back to when he was a teenager. He played in the 2016 World Baseball Classic qualifiers for Nicaragua. Big spot here for Todd Frazier in the first inning. 2-1 count, 2 men in scoring position, and he'll bounce this one foul. Third base coach for the United States down there is Darren Fenster. Luke Williams at third, Jaron Duran, good speed right behind him at second. Get a look at those first time unveiled Nike USA Baseball uniforms. Nike, of course, taking over production of Major League Baseball's uniforms starting last year, and USA Baseball rolling out its own Nike threads for the first time. 3 balls and 2 strikes now on Frazier. There they are. It's the same look as in years past, of course, but new manufacturer, USA Baseball. Those numbers on the front are definitely a different look. A little bit different style. The blue outline is certainly more pronounced. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Teller already to 15 pitches with this next one without recording an out here in the first. And a fly ball to center should get the United States on the board. Luke Williams will tag at third as Munguia makes the catch. His throw will go to third. Duran in on a head for a slide. It's a sacrifice fly for Todd Frazier, and the United States out in front in the first. It's 1-0. Jaron Duran hustling all the way behind Luke Williams, who scores easily standing up. And that brings in Eric Filia. Eric Filia, a prospect who has had a lot of promise throughout his time coming up in the minor league ranks, but has yet to make it to the big leagues. 28 years old, a product of the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA here in the United States. He was a 20th round pick of the Seattle Mariners back in 2016 and was a ranked prospect for a while, but injuries and other issues have kind of slowed his development. Played with Estrellas in the Dominican Winter League over the last 2 Winter League seasons, and he bounces this one right side and through for a base hit. The United States with 3 base runners in its first 4 men to the plate, an RBI single for Filia, and a 2-0 lead for the U.S. in the top of the first. He has always been a very impressive bat, and Eric Filia making it happen for the U.S. out of the cleanup spot as he bounces that one through to score Jaron Duran, and it brings up Matt Kemp. The exact kind of start that the U.S. would have been hoping for. And Kemp, with his first action of this 2021 qualifier, and he drives one in the air pretty well to right field, but Montes moving back a couple of steps in front of the warning track, puts it away, and 2 gone. As Filia retreats to first, it'll bring up Logan Forsythe. Forsyth, 34 years old. Currently in the Milwaukee Brewers organization. And a member of their roster at AAA Nashville. He's played 10 games for the Nashville Sounds, now in AAA East in the restructured minor leagues in the United States. 10 games with the Sounds. 308, 526, 538 his slash line. No balls in, a strike on him. Pretty close to home, too. Logan Forsyth hails from Memphis, Tennessee, originally. Now a member of that squad in Nashville. Product of the University of Arkansas, which just grabbed the top overall seed in the NCAA's college level, university level baseball tournament. 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, just our biggest thanks to all of you for hanging out with us on this Monday evening from the United States. This America's qualifier being broadcast in over 70 countries worldwide. And we are just so delighted and thrilled to be able to bring the international game back to all of you with a packed international calendar ahead, even just in the next few weeks as Forsyth takes strike 2. We'll tell you all about the parameters for this tournament. We'll tell you about what's coming up on the international stage, both at this highest level and also through the youth levels. Teller trying to get out of this inning. He's at 21 pitches right now. Lefty from the stretch. Checks Filia at first and goes over that way. That is veteran coach and manager Jerry Weinstein over at first base for the United States. Jerry Weinstein, not just experience with USA Baseball, he's got a lot of that, was also the manager of Israel's national team for the 2017 World Baseball Classic. 1-2 on the way to Forsyth. Flared to right. Racing over toward the line is Montez. Long run, and that one's down. Plays it with the bare hand. First to third goes Filia, and the runners are at the corners with 2 gone. Eric Filia, that is a great read, and obviously moving on contact with 2 outs anyway, but to be able to cut the bag that quickly and swiftly move into third, puts himself in scoring position 1 station away. And Forsyth with the 3rd hit of the inning for the U.S. And the first visit to the mound from Cairo Murillo, the pitching coach for Nicaragua, trying to settle down this left-hander, Carlos Teller. Teller, 34 years old. He was originally signed by the Pittsburgh Pirates, the major league organization here in the United States. Debuted in 2005 in that system in the Venezuelan Summer League, a league that unfortunately no longer exists in an affiliated context with major league organizations. Pitched 2005-2006 in the VSL, then moved to the rookie-level Gulf Coast League in the United States in 2008. Was out of affiliated ball from the end of 2008 until 2013, when he briefly returned. Was with the San Francisco Giants system at 3 different levels in 2013, but he has been all over the Americas ever since. He's pitched primarily in Mexico, both winter and summer ever since, but he's also pitched in the winter leagues in Venezuela. He's been in the Caribbean Series. He's pitched in Panama. He's been in independent leagues in the United States. He is in Mexico with Aguascalientes now, and he gets a first pitch swinging strike from a 2017 U18 world champion in Tristan Casas. Casas is a member of that roster that just rolled through the U18s in 2017 in Thunder Bay, Ontario. An unbeaten record, a pitching staff that allowed, I believe, 5 runs, 3 of them earned for the entire tournament. And Tristan now one of the most highly touted prospects in minor league baseball in the United States in any organization, and especially in that Boston Red Sox system, where he's got an organizational teammate in Jarren Duran, who's already scored one of the 2 runs for the United States in this inning. Cass is the number 33 overall prospect in baseball, according to MLB Pipeline, MLB.com's prospect site. He is a big guy, as you can see. 21 years old, Tristan Casas. He is listed at 6'4", 250 pounds. And swings with power befitting that size. 2-1 is low and away, 3 balls and a strike. Tristan was the U18 most valuable player back in 2017. He is one of 4 top 100 prospects originally listed on this roster for the United States, and all 4 made it through to this final roster as he takes the 3-1 on a breaking ball in for a called strike to put the count full. Jarren Duran, number 92 overall for the U.S. Number 92 in minor league baseball of all prospects. Kaz is number 33. Matthew Liberatore, today's starting pitcher, is number 30. And Simeon Woods Richardson, a Toronto Blue Jays prospect, number 73, who's also a member of this United States pitching staff. 3-2 on the way from Teller is on the outside corner for a called strike 3 with a changeup. That freezes Tristan Casas, and the inning comes to a close. But the United States puts a handful on, brings in 2, and carries a 2-0 lead to the bottom of the first inning. U.S. 2, Nicaragua coming up in Game 3 of the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Port St. Lucie, Florida. The United States 2 and Nicaragua going to the plate for the first time against U.S. starter Matthew Liberatore. We'll tell you about him here in just a minute as you get a look at Nicaragua's starting lineup as announced by manager Marvin Bernard. Brandon Layton will lead things off. The shortstop, Ismael Munguia, is right behind him. Then Ofelio Castro, the third baseman. Dwight Britton, the left fielder, cleans up. Melvin Novoa, the Texas Rangers, is the catcher. Juan Montes, the right fielder, batting 6th. Edgar Montiel, the designated hitter, in the 7th spot. And Manuel Meza at first, batting 8th. Benjamin Alegria will bat in the 9 hole at second base as Brandon Layton stands in. And the first pitch on the way to him from Matthew Liberatore is a fastball grooved in there at 91 miles per hour for a strike, and it is 0-1. Liberatore, the big lefty from the St. Louis Cardinals organization, the number 30 overall prospect in baseball, according to MLB Pipeline. Second pitch of his evening is grounded to short. Nick Allen, no trouble. 6-3 is the putout. 1 up, 1 down on 2 pitches here in the bottom of the first. The defensive alignment for the United States, out in left field for the U.S. is Luke Williams, who had that leadoff walk in the first. Center field is Jarren Duran. Right field is Eric Filia. Third to first on the infield, Todd Frazier, veteran at third base. Nick Allen makes the play, the Oakland Athletics shortstop there. Logan Forsythe at second. Tristan Casas at first. And behind the plate for the United States, Mark Colesvary out of the Cincinnati Reds system. And the first pitch is therefore a called strike to Ismael Munguia. Ismael, another one of the affiliated players on this roster for his team, a member of the San Francisco Giants organization, who has started his season very well in the minor league ranks with the High A affiliate now of the Giants organization. That is the Eugene Emeralds in High A West. 19 games into the season, 299, 355, 418 is his slash line. And hanging on a breaking ball there, he bounces this one. This is a tough play up the first base side, just based on whether or not that was going to stay in foul territory. And an alert job by Colesvary to race up to it and glove it while it was on the foul side of that line in the runner's lane. Munguia signed by the Giants back in 2015. He has played 5 seasons now in San Francisco's system. Debuted in 2016. Bounces this one back up the middle. Tough play. Forsythe to it. Throw to first. Not in time. That would have been a magnificent play by Logan Forsythe, but Ismael Munguia able to beat it out. He's got himself Nicaragua's first hit of the tournament. And that brings up Ophelio Castro with 1 gone. I mean, that's a great play by Forsythe anyway, but Munguia runs pretty well, the center fielder for Nicaragua. And with 1 out, Castro to the plate. Right-handed hitting third baseman. Fastball just off the outside corner. Our umpires this evening, Elvin Jimenez from Venezuela, the crew chief, is behind the plate calling balls and strikes. Jair Fernandez from Mexico is at first base. Ruben Ramos from Puerto Rico at second base, one of my breakfast buddies in the hotel. And Ramiro Alfaro from Colombia is over at third. Ophelio Castro, one of the older guys on this roster, shoots this one foul into the netting down the right field line. This is not intended as a shot, but I will say, if you can believe that a player on one of these rosters was signed by the Montreal Expos. Ophelio Castro was signed by the Expos back in 2000. Now he's only 37. It's not old by any stretch. And a veteran guy who's played all over the place in his baseball life. Takes the 1-1 there for a strike. But it is kind of a vestige, a throwback fact about a career when you can pick out a player who has been signed or drafted by the Expos. One-two pitch. Breaking ball in the outside corner. A called strike 3. First strikeout of the day for Matthew Liberatore. And 2 gone now as Dwight Britton will step in. That is a terrific curveball. Matthew Liberatore's curveball is his best secondary offering, followed most closely by his changeup. Fastball, according to MLB Pipeline, ranks as a 60 on baseball's 20 to 80 scouting scale, and the curveball matches that grade, a 60. That is well above Major League average. Major League average in future projection is a 50. Liberatore's got a chance at 3 above average or better pitches by the time he becomes a major leaguer. And the St. Louis Cardinals don't think that is too far off. Liberatore right now climbing the ranks quickly in that organization. Ball and a strike here on the cleanup man, Britton, with 2 outs. Liberatore had not pitched above the Class A level, now known as Low A in the minor leagues officially. He is at AAA this season with the Memphis Redbirds in the St. Louis Cardinals organization. He's made 4 starts there, and it's been a little tough. 5.48 ERA and an 0-3 record, but he's 21 years old, is Liberatore, and had never pitched above Class A prior to this season. So it's going to take a little acclimating at the highest level of the minors. 2-1 pitch on the way. Bouncing ball to the mound. Liberatore there to get it. And a pretty quick and easy first inning despite the infield single as the 1-3 putout wraps things up for Nicaragua in the first. Well, to the top of the second inning, the United States 2 and Nicaragua nothing in Game 3 of the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Port St. Lucie, Florida. Second inning, a 2-0 lead for the United States through one back in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Second inning of work for Carlos Teller, who threw 28 pitches in inning number 1 as the U.S. put 2 runs on 3 hits and a walk onto the board. It's a 2-0 lead in Group B right now for Canada over Colombia as that game is underway at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches in West Palm Beach. Ball and no strikes on the 8-hole hitter for the United States, Mark Colesvary. Mark out of the Cincinnati Reds system. Bounces this one left side on the backhand. Brandon Layton, long throw across the diamond, not in time to get the U.S. catcher, who is aboard the leadoff infield single in the second. Two runs for Canada in the bottom of the first inning. Eric Wood and Daniel Pinheiro with RBIs for Canada. As Nick Allen stands in. Allen goes after it with the bunt attempt. No balls and a strike. Nick Allen, the United States really excited about him, and so are the Oakland Athletics, a 22-year-old prospect, currently at AA in the A's system. He's their third-ranked prospect according to MLB Pipeline. '17 draft selection in the 3rd round. Shoots this one out over the head of Brandon Layton at short, dunking it down in center. And back-to-back base hits get the United States started in the second. We'll go back to the top of the order and Luke Williams. So the U.S. back-to-back base runners in the first. They both scored after leading off that inning aboard. Williams with the walk, Jarren Duran with the single up the middle behind him. And now Williams trying to get this inning on legs, with Colesvary at second and Allen at first. That was time taken by Melvin Novoa, the catcher. Williams lays down a perfect one to third, and the sacrifice bunt on a 5-3 putout retires him, but gets the United States a pair in scoring position. And that sends it to Jarren Duran. Jarren Duran, a 7th-round pick of the Boston Red Sox back in 2018 out of Long Beach State in California here in the U.S. Played in the MLB All-Star Futures game back in 2019. He was the Puerto Rican Winter League playoff MVP last year. And like I said, just outstanding in the Caribbean Series, and now in AAA in the Boston system. Ball and no strikes on him. Third base, Colesvary. Second base is Allen. 1-0 off the plate, 2 balls and no strikes. Already some work down the left field line in the Nicaragua bullpen as Elvin Garcia has begun to loosen. Garcia, lefty out of Esteli in Nicaragua, who pitched for his country in the 2013 World Baseball Classic qualifiers. 2-0 there on the outside corner. And then interestingly enough, the next year, he actually helped coach for neighboring Guatemala in the Central American and Caribbean games, according to Baseball Reference. Garcia warming in case his team needs him here in a jam in the second inning. Already 2 runs in for the U.S. in the first. Jarren Duran waiting on a 2-1 on the way to him from Teller. Left side. Infield was shifted, and a great play by the third baseman Castro, and a nice dig on the other side as Meza is there to pull it out, but not in time. We're going to get another look at it. And oh man, that was a bang-bang play with Jair Fernandez right on top of it over at first. Jarren Duran certainly wanted the call, and they will ask for the umpires to take a look at this as our crew chief, Elvin Jimenez from Venezuela, throws on the headset. That is as close as it gets over at first base. And what a great dig by Emmanuel Meza. Brandon Layton was shifted kind of toward the second base bag, the shortstop for Nicaragua, and Ofelio Castro was pulled in, played that ball over to his glove side, and it looked like may have gotten the out over at first, but that is a really close play. And we will see what the replay shows for our umpiring crew down below. Pretty quick review. And Jarren Duran is out at first base. What a great play by Ofelio Castro. As we get another look at it here, not only does he hold the runners by virtue of making the play on that ball pulled in, but able to get a big second out. And now, if you can retire Todd Frazier in any way, if you're Carlos Teller, you have escaped a jam walking on the high wire here in the second. And they're not even going to deal with Frazier. They'll just put him on and work to Eric Filia. That's certainly no disrespect to Filia. I think Carlos Teller probably just feels a little bit more comfortable going left on left. So 2 gone in the inning. Luke Williams with the sacrifice bunt. Jarren Duran grounding out to third, and now the base is loaded. Frazier on at first, and Filia, who singled through the right side in the first inning, trying to make the intentional walk hurt. First pitch on the way to him from Teller is a fastball off the plate at 89 miles an hour for ball 1. Another great crowd has filed in here at Clover Park, the home of the New York Mets in spring training and Mets player development year-round. The St. Lucie Mets now in the Low A Southeast League in minor league baseball here in the U.S. They call this ballpark home. Teller from the stretch, 1-0 into the dirt, 2 balls and no strikes. St. Lucie Mets so kind to allow us to move in for the week. They are on the road at Fort Myers starting tomorrow, taking on the Mighty Mussels. And then back home to square off with Palm Beach next week. But so gracious to allow us to set up shop here at gorgeous Clover Park, which underwent a pretty significant renovation over the last couple of years. 2 balls and no strikes on Filia. Pitch on the way. And checking his swing. That one glances off of the bat. Saw a weird play in game number 1 today. Melky Cabrera, the former major leaguer, actually struck out trying to check his swing on a pitch that hit him. In the second inning of the Dominican Republic's 5-2 win over Puerto Rico. Eric Filia there, able to hold up on the swing, but it didn't matter. That ball coming in tight on him. Still a hitter's count at 2-1. U.S. 5 hits already. Filia trying to make it 6, but he takes an off-speed pitch over the lower part of the zone for strike 2. And Carlos Teller now 1 pitch away from getting out of this jam here in the second. Nicaragua's fans getting into it. Teller ready, 2-2 pitch. We'll do it again. Matt Kemp on deck if it gets to him. He flew out to right field last inning. Eric Filia jumped on an early pitch in the first and drove in Jarren Duran with an RBI single. He's trying to add to his RBI tally here in the second. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 gone. Teller a high set again. On the way with 2-2. Just a little low and away, and the count is full. Runners will move with 2 outs. Filia, that very open stance, hands up way high with the right foot out in front. 3-2 runners moving, swung on and missed. And that'll do it for the U.S. Here in the second, the United States puts its first 2 aboard and loads the bases, but gets nothing as Carlos Teller gets out of the jam. We will head to the bottom of the second inning. It's the United States 2 and Nicaragua nothing. Lead for the United States over Nicaragua. 2 runs on 5 hits for the U.S. through the first 2 innings of this game offensively. And Nicaragua's fans ready to see their offense come to life as we move into the bottom of 2. It'll be 5, 6, and 7 for Nicaragua. And the first pitch of the bottom of the second inning from the big lefty Matthew Liberatore is in for a strike to Melvin Novoa. Novoa, the Texas Rangers prospect, as we've noted a few times, originally signed by Texas in 2014, debuted in the Dominican Summer League that year. Played with Nicaragua in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers in 2016. He has played for Gigantes de Rivas, Leones de Leon, and Tigres de Chinandega in the last 3 years of LBPN play. That's Nicaragua's professional league from winter ball. 0-2 yanked foul. 24 years old, 5'11", 215. Guy who's got a little bit of pop. 5 for 13 to start the season with Double-A Frisco. 3 of those hits are extra base hits. Able to keep his hands back here on a breaking ball and stay alive at 0-2. 2 doubles, 1 homer. And it is turning into the absolute perfect night here in South Florida. I'm assuming there is a lot out beyond the right field wall here in Port St. Lucie, but all we can see pretty much are trees, and it is such a gorgeous backdrop as Novoa holds up here. And out beyond center and left, as well as the third base side, you'll get a chance to see as we pan around the backfields for this Mets complex out beyond center and left field. Liberatore bends that breaking ball into the dirt. This is where USA Baseball has been doing a lot of work in recent days, getting this roster set. And I believe also playing some exhibition games against some of the Mets extended spring training players who are here. 2-2 pitch is lifted to center and down for a base hit. Novoa with his first hit of the tournament. He's got himself a leadoff single. And Nicaragua with a man aboard to get the second inning started. That brings up Juan Montez. Boa just went down and got the barrel of the bat to that one. So he's aboard. Montez in a 2-0 game squares to maybe try to advance him, or at least try to glean something from Liberatore. So he took the bat back. Juan Diego Montez, formerly a member of the Baltimore Orioles organization in minor league baseball in the United States. And one pitch comes in tight on him at 90 miles an hour. Spent 4 seasons in the Dominican Summer League in the Orioles system, 1 in the Gulf Coast League, and then 1 with Class A short season Aberdeen, and obviously the best mustache in the tournament. Swings and doesn't get a piece there. There's 1-2. Juan Montez, that's the kind of mustache that would have won you facial hair accolades in baseball in like 1915 as well. That thing is incredible. Digging back in on 1-2. Montez actually put up pretty decent numbers for a few seasons in the O's system, but didn't play a ton of games. Played 6 seasons, only 213 games, and he takes this pitch off of his left leg, and he is aboard at first, so it is first and second with nobody out for Nicaragua in the second. And Liberatore dealing with base traffic. Multiple runners on for the first time against him. He gave up the 1-out single on the infield to Munguia last inning. One of the things I love most about WBSC tournaments is the amount of fans that we see at ballparks all around the world with jerseys from teams all over the world. Saw an Indios de Boer jersey a moment ago, one of the teams in Nicaragua's league. There's a Nicaragua jersey down on the first base side. Brandon Dixon's family is behind home plate for the United States, one of the relievers. He has pitched all over the globe. He's pitched for the Oryx Buffaloes in Japan, and there's a Dixon Oryx Buffaloes jersey. I'm assuming that's Brandon's family. It might not be. Could just be a big Brandon Dixon fan who happens to own one of his jerseys from Japan. As an offer there from Edgar Montiel. And it is no balls and a strike. Montiel, the DH today. One of the infielders on this roster. And one of the veteran guys as well. He's 33 years old and from Managua. Spent the last few seasons in Nicaragua's domestic league. Takes that pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Also kind of an interesting baseball road for him. Originally signed by the St. Louis Cardinals. Played 2006 and 2007 in the Cardinal system. Then played in Italy over a decade later. He swings and doesn't get a piece here. Good off-speed delivery there from Liberatore. Played in the Italian Baseball League for Nettuno, Nuova Città Nettuno in 2018. Batted .327, .426, .480 in 28 games in the Italian League. Fouls this pitch off to stay alive at 1-2. Nicaragua threatening here in the second. First and second, nobody out. Montiel out of the 7 spot, and Manuel Meza, the first baseman, is on deck. Sun is just glancing off of the upper reaches of the first base side. 1-2 on the way from Liberatore. Flare out towards shallow left. This one's going to get down unless Allen can get to it, and he can't. The bases are loaded. 2 singles and a hit batsman in the inning. And Nicaragua has loaded him up with nobody out. And that brings up Meza. And Manuel Meza, one of the players that really does not have nearly as much of a baseball paper trail as a lot of guys on this roster. No affiliated time with major league organizations in the United States. He has played for a while in Nicaragua. Most recently with Leones de Leon. In 2020 season, he batted .378, albeit in just 14 games. But a .511 on-base percentage and a .432 slugging percentage, and he's the 8-hole hitter in this lineup. Batting in a big spot right now with his team down 2-0. He's unable to hold up on 1-0 as Liberatore, a gorgeous off-speed pitch to fool him and put the count at 1-1. Matthew Liberatore has been in spots like this before in international play. That is one of the things that's so fascinating about this roster, is having young guys who have international experience like Liberatore. Matthew in the (2017) U18 Baseball World Cup, part of that United States roster that barely allowed anything on the pitcher's mound. Matthew for that tournament, 2 starts, 12 innings, 5 hits, no runs. Struck out 13 in 12 innings and walked 5 as the count stays at 1-2 here. But to have 2 of your starters in Liberatore and Tristan Casas be so close to their time with USA Baseball and playing in moments like this, I feel like that's something that bodes well for this U.S. team. And I asked Mike Scioscia, the United States manager, about that yesterday, and he said, well, it'll be cool if they play well. Liberatore ready, 1-2 pitch on the way is high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So at third base, it's Melvin Novoa, leadoff single to center field. Juan Montes was hit by a pitch behind him. And Edgar Montiel with a single to left, setting it up for Manuel Meza. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Liberatore nearing 40 pitches now. This one will be number 37. Lefty ready, 2-2 pitch. And Meza able to battle and stay alive. Infield is playing to turn 2. Outfield is very shallow and very shifted over toward the left field line. Luke Williams is about maybe 5 strides on a run from the left field line. Jaron Duran in center, very shallow and shifted toward left center. And Eric Filia out in right is toward the right center field alleyway. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Liberatore ready, 2-2. In the air, toward right center, perfectly positioned is Filia. Catch made, and his throw to the plate is going to hold Novoa at third. And a big out number 1 for Matthew Liberatore and the U.S. That is why you position guys the way you do. Filia could not have been placed more perfectly for that ball off the bat. If he's in straightaway right, there's a chance that thing gets down in the gap. But Eric right where you needed him, and it sends it to Benjamin Alegria. First pitch there for a strike to him. Alegria would have been a member of the U23 roster last year had that tournament gone ahead, and is hopefully going to be a member of his team squad for this year as he bounces this one a second, a chance at 2, but the United States won't turn it now. The runner Montez held up between third and the plate, and the U.S. trying to get the final out of the inning will get it as Liberatore tags out Montez, and that will retire the side. But Melvin Novoa scores from third on the bouncer to second. Alegria with an RBI reaching on the fielder's choice, and Nicaragua is on the board in the second inning. We will head to the third. It's the United States 2 and Nicaragua 1 in game number 3, the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Clover Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Tells a ball game, the United States 2 and Nicaragua 1, very nearly able to tie this game in the bottom of the second inning. Nicaragua a run on 2 hits in that last frame. They ended up leaving 1 runner aboard. Check that, 2 runners aboard as the final outs of the inning recorded on the base paths on that fielder's choice grounder. Brought in 1 run, Melvin Novoa scoring on the grounder to second. The United States unable to turn that double play. They did get the 4-6 put out at second of Edgar Montiel, and then Nick Allen threw to Tristan Casas at first. Couldn't get the out there on Benjamin Alegria. Casas came home with it to Mark Colesvary, who went to Todd Frazier at third, hanging up Juan Montes in between third and the plate, and then Frazier got it to Matthew Liberatore, who was the one to make the tag. So I believe that play in its entirety on that last putout goes 6-3-2-5-1. For those of you scoring at home, and always make sure to denote that if you're scoring this game at home, it's a very strange thing to be doing on a Monday night. You could just be watching it. The internet exists. They score it there as well. 2 balls and a strike on Matt Kemp to lead things off here in the top of the third inning. The United States with already 5 hits on the board, but Nicaragua with 3. And it's a good bounce back from Nicaragua. The U.S. with a couple of runs in the top of the first inning and a couple of base runners aboard to start the second. Matt Kemp will be retired here to kick off the third, as Alegria gets that throw to Meza, 1 up, 1 down. But for Nicaragua, I said in that first inning, you don't want to trail the U.S. early. And even more so than that, you don't want to trail early and let a lead grow. And Nicaragua able to wriggle out of a jam in the second, stranding the bases loaded for the United States, and then getting a run back in the bottom of the second. And Carlos Teller now for his third inning of work, trying to settle into a groove, having faced a whole bunch of base runners, with the U.S. leaving 5 and tallying 5 hits in the first 2 innings at the plate in this game, as Logan Forsythe steps in. Logan singled to right field and pushed Eric Filia to third base with 2 outs in the first, but Tristan Casas was called out on strike 3 to end that inning. 1-0 pitch is high. 2 balls and a strike. Got a gorgeous sunset settling in off to the third base side here in Port St. Lucie. Teller kicks and comes home to Forsythe, and that pitch is just low on a fastball. Nicaragua fans wanted that call. There it is. Beautiful spring training home of the New York Mets. Clover Park here in Port St. Lucie, Florida. This is my first time to a Grapefruit League park, one of the Florida host sites for Major League Baseball spring training here in the United States. Been a whole lot of Cactus League parks, the ballparks in Arizona, all of them, actually, for some other work, but my first time to a Grapefruit League park, as the 3-0 is there for a strike. Craig Durham's on the call for the first few days at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches in West Palm Beach. Right now, Canada with a 6-0 lead early on over Colombia. Teller, hands over the head, comes home on 3-1, and a foul right back into the screen and into the waiting glove of Melvin Novoa. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 gone. Canada 2 runs in the first inning in that game, 4 in the second. 3-2 pitch on the way from Teller. Lifted in the air to center. And waiting for it, Munguia makes the catch. 2 gone. That is 3 straight retired by Teller for the first time today. And it brings us to the 7th spot in the U.S. order, and Tristan Casas. Casas in his first trip to the plate, called out on strike 3 to end the first inning. With runners at the corners for the U.S. Look at that wide stance for the 6'5" first baseman. 6'4", 250. Tristan's not far away from home either. He is one of a handful of Miami products on this roster. Eddie Alvarez, U.S. infielder, also from Miami. Big swing and a miss there. John Jay, one of the United States outfielders from Miami too. Carlos Teller trying to make quick work of the United States here in the top half of the third. Lefty into his windup. 0-2 pitch on the way to Casas. High and away at 89 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Outfield straight away and pretty deep. Casas, you see that Red Sox elbow guard on his right arm. The Boston prospect waiting. 1-2. Bouncing ball to second. Alegria is there. 3 up, 3 down. Goes the U.S. in the third. We head to the bottom of the third inning. Teller starting to settle in. The United States with a 1-run lead over Nicaragua. 2-1 through 2.5 at Clover Park. Bottom of the third inning, a 2-1 lead for the United States. The world's number 2 over world number 15 Nicaragua as we move back into the top third of the order for tonight's home team back inside Clover Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida. My name is Tyler Mon. Brandon Layton will lead things off for Nicaragua, the shortstop out of the top spot in his team's order. Thanks for joining us on what has turned into a gorgeous Monday night here near the Atlantic coast. 2 balls and no strikes to Layton from United States starting pitcher Matthew Liberatore. We've had a fun day of baseball already, and really any day of baseball was going to be fun today as this ball is lofted out to left field, moving back on it and playing it off the wall. Luke Williams, that's extra bases for Layton, who's around second and headed for third. Throw there from Allen is in time to get him, and on an 8-6-5 putout, leadoff extra bases erased by the U.S. defense. Brandon Layton pointing to his dugout. He wants Marvin Bernard to challenge this one, and Bernard will now ask for a review, but unless that was a fantastic slide by Brandon Layton to get around a tag of Todd Frazier, that throw more than beat him. We'll get a look at it here on the replay. Nick Williams, when that thing came off the bat, Williams did not show a lot of urgency to move back on it. I think he thought it was going to hang up more than it did. And to be fair, I don't think he would have gotten to it even if he did move back as soon as it came off the bat. But it caromed so hard off the wall. And how about Nick Allen's throw? And that is right there what Layton once looked at on the challenge. Layton getting his foot around the tag and reaching back with the hand to try to get to the bag around Todd Frazier's tag at third base. But it'll all depend on the angles, I think, of the replays that our umpires get to check out, and a quick review, and the out call is confirmed. So 8-6-5 goes that put out. The double to left field is erased. And, you know, credit to Brandon Layton for being aggressive. But in a spot where I'm not sure you're going to get a ton of opportunities, wasting a leadoff double is not always something that makes you too thrilled. And how about Todd Frazier? That's a guy who's done just about everything you can do in the game of baseball, and being that fired up in the third inning of game one of this qualifier is so cool to see. We saw it from the Dominican Republic side and the Puerto Rico side earlier today. Former major leaguers, guys who have likewise done pretty much everything you can do. And there's just something different when you put on a national team uniform for these players. As Ismael Munguia finds himself down in an 0-2 count. And you can see so quickly what it means to every one of these rosters. 0-2 pitch on the way from Liberatore is off of the outside corner at 91 miles an hour with a fastball. Matthew Liberatore pretty much lives in the low 90s with that fastball, but a lot of scouts feel like there is still some room for growth velocity-wise. He can touch 95, 96. Liberatore listed at 6'4", 200. But he's still just 21 years old, so potentially there is some more time for him to fill out that frame and maybe even add to what's already very easy, comfortable, low 90s velocity. 2-2 on the way is right there for a called strike 3. Sometimes you see that where a moment in the field helps settle a pitcher in. And Liberatore, off of the putout at third base, comes right back with a strikeout, just dots the outside corner there. So 2 gone as he tries to answer the 3 up, 3 down from Carlos Teller on the other side. With one of his own, Ofelio Castro now stepping in. Castro was the first strikeout victim of this game, and he bounces this one. Liberatore snares it and flips it to first easily. That was like a magic act. Liberatore just reached down, that baseball disappeared, and 3 up, 3 down. Nicaragua retired in the third. We head to the fourth. The U.S. 2 and Nicaragua 1 in game number 3 of the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Clover Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Back at Clover Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida. If you had the video feed on between innings, you may have seen Uncle Sam made it to the ballpark this evening. I've already seen some very inventive costumes on day number 1 of the Baseball Americas qualifier, as the leadoff man for the United States here in the top half of the 4th inning is Mark Colesberry. There he is. Hanging out, made sure to wear the gloves today. Very formal on day 1 of the Americas qualifier. 1-0 pitch off the plate outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Colesberry is single to shortstop in the 2nd inning. Led off that frame as well. You're going to work after the U.S. was retired in order for the first time in the top of the 3rd. 2-0 pitch catches the inside corner. Turning into a gorgeous sunset to steal the legendary Vin Scully description, a cotton candy sky overhead with pink clouds, as Colesberry hammers this one to center. Munguia moving back to the warning track, to the wall. It is gone. Mark Colesberry over that orange stripe on the wall in center field. That is a home run, and the United States has added a run to its lead. It's 3-1 in the 4th. Colesberry, we saw it on the infield single in the 2nd. He moves very well. And not even just very well for a catcher. I mean, that's always kind of the backhanded compliment to catchers who can run. But Mark Colesberry, he runs well And that might have been the fastest home run trot in WBSC history. He flew around to get back to the plate and celebrate with his teammates. And the U.S. adding a run here with the leadoff blast in the fourth, now 3-1. And it brings in Nick Allen. Allen a single to left in the second. Nick Allen's one of those players I've been really excited to see in this competition, the third-ranked prospect in the Oakland Athletics organization. And USA Baseball, as I was saying earlier, they're really excited to have him as part of this group. 2 balls and a strike to him. Allen, according to MLB Pipeline's evaluation of him, he has, quote, the makings of a future Gold Glove Award winner at shortstop. As if the Oakland A's need any more Gold Glove defense on the left side of the infield with Matt Chapman over at third base. But he is a really, really talented player. And Allen lifts this one to right center. Munguia there to put it away. 1 gone. That turns the lineup card over and sends it back to Luke Williams in the top spot. Williams also a ranked prospect in the Philadelphia Phillies system, currently in AAA. Number 30 prospect in that organization, according to MLB Pipeline. 18 games so far this year at AAA, batting .352, .439, .465, his slash line. Third round pick back in 2015 for the Phils. 1-0, slow roller foul. Luke Williams can do everything defensively. He has played every spot on the field with the exception of pitching or catching. In the lineup leading off and playing in left field here today. 1-1. Waits on that one and punches it back up the middle into center field. A 1-out single for Luke Williams, who's aboard for the second time today and has his first hit. Walked and scored in the first inning. And singles to center here in the fourth. And that will bring Marvin Bernard from the third base dugout. And he looks as though he's going to get his left-handed starter. So Carlos Teller will see his day come to a close with 1 out here in the fourth as he crosses the 70-pitch threshold, and Nicaragua will head to the bullpen. We'll tell you about the new arm for tonight's home team when we return. The United States with a run home here in the fourth. A 3-1 lead and a man aboard with 1 gone. Back in a moment from Port St. Lucie, Florida. The fourth is the left-handed relief pitcher Elvin Garcia, who takes over from starter Carlos Teller. Teller, 3 1/3 innings, 7 hits allowed. So far, 3 runs. He is tasked with the runner at first base, Luke Williams. A couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts for Teller. And Garcia takes over, trying to get his team back into the dugout, down just 2 here in the fourth. He'll face Jaron Duran with 1 out, and the first pitch should be the first out recorded by Garcia. This one's popped to shallow left, and no trouble ranging back for Brandon Layton. 1 up and 1 down. Second out of the inning, first recorded by Garcia on just 1 pitch. Elvin Garcia, formerly a prospect in the Atlanta system in minor league baseball in the United States, played for a couple of different short season affiliates for Atlanta. Also pitched for Nicaragua in the 2013 World Baseball Classic qualifiers. Most recently in LBPN play, Nicaragua's domestic league. He played for Gigantes in 2020. 8 games, an 0-2 record, a 4.82 ERA. 9 strikeouts and 4 walks in 18 2/3 innings, so he's more of a contact guy. He faces a longtime Major League veteran, Todd Frazier. The first pitch there for a strike. Frazier, 2 trips to the plate, no at-bats so far. Sacrifice fly in the first inning and an intentional walk to load the bases in the second that ended up paying off when Eric Filia struck out to end the inning. One ball, 1 strike, 2 gone. Leadoff homer in this inning for Mark Colesberry, giving the United States a little bit of breathing room with a 2-run lead as Frazier shoots this one foul. "562 days since our last international baseball event concluded, the 2019 Premier 12 in Tokyo back on November 17th of 2019. Feels like it's been about 100 years at times. And it is so great to be back doing it again with all of you." 1-2 on the way to Todd Frazier off the plate outside. United States in that Premier 12 tournament had the lead over Mexico into the 9th inning before falling 3-2 in 10. Matt Clark hitting a game-tying home run off of Brandon Dixon in the 9th. And Efrain Navarro, a broken bat single in the 10th to give Mexico the win and put that country into the Olympics in baseball for the first time ever. And the United States now trying to qualify on home soil. Night number 1 of the road to Tokyo in the Baseball Americas qualifier here in 2021. As Garcia checks over at first base, Luke Williams back in. Elvin Garcia trying to finish off Todd Frazier. 3-2 pitch on the way is ball 4. Frazier is on. And it's first and second now. Frazier 3 trips to the plate, 2 walks and a sacrifice fly. And another opportunity with men in scoring position for Eric Filia for the 3rd time in as many ABs. Filia came through with an RBI single back in the first inning and then struck out swinging in the second. Forgot about Eric Filia's little dance before he gets into the batter's box. That's a thing that became pretty well known about him. He went fairly viral on Twitter when somebody posted a video of Filia's little setup before he gets into the batter's box. Just looked down and noticed that before he climbed in the box. Had totally forgotten about that. As Cairo Murillo, pitching coach for Nicaragua, heads to the mound for a word with Elvin Garcia. Lefty versus lefty here. Filia steps in, digs that back spike in. He has such a pronounced open stance. He'll drop that right foot back and extend the hands high up over his head. And takes ball 1 elevated. So at second base, it's Luke Williams. First base is Todd Frazier after the walk. U.S. already with 1 home in the inning. On the leadoff homer by catcher Mark Colesberry. Mark a single in the second, homer in the 4th. 1-0 on the way, low and away. Lights have taken full effect here at Clover Park as the last flecks of sunshine off beyond the third base side slowly dissipate. 2-0, bounced foul. Eric Filia has played a good amount of winter ball in the Dominican Winter League in recent years. Two 1 on the way. He'll shoot this one foul the other direction. Former 20th round pick of the Seattle Mariners out of UCLA in 2016. Played with Estrellas Orientales in the 2019-20 and the 2020-2021 seasons. Combined in 72 games in the Dominican Winter League. A slash line of 278, 374, 335. This guy was very good at taking walks and finding ways on. 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. 2 strikeouts today for Filia. That is very uncharacteristic. He's a guy who struck out 115 times compared with 184 walks in his minor league career. But today, a couple of Ks as another jam evaded by Nicaragua's pitching staff. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning. U.S. adds a run, and the United States with a 3-1 lead over Nicaragua through 3.5 in Port St. Lucie. Into the bottom of the 4th inning in Port St. Lucie. Nicaragua will send the heart of its lineup to the batter's box against Matthew Liberatore here in the bottom of the 4th rather. 4, 5, and 6. Dwight Britton, the left fielder, will lead things off. Then Melvin Novoa, the catcher, and Juan Montes, the right fielder, as the United States with a 3-1 lead. A foul ball off the bat of Britton. That thing barely snuck foul down the third base side, but Ramiro Alfaro, the umpire, dancing out of the way of it and making that call accurately. One pitch on the way. That is a 20-plus mile-an-hour difference between Matthew Liberatore's fastball and that off-speed pitch, which came in at 71 miles an hour. Just kind of floated on the way to Dwight Britton at the plate. One, two. On the ground, too short. Nick Allen, no trouble. 1 up, 1 down. Nick Allen's arm strength is really impressive out at short. And I know that's one thing that the Oakland A's really like about him. But, I mean, that is a laser beam throw. Dwight Britton gone for the first out of the 4th inning, as that leadoff double by Brandon Layton, in which he was caught at third trying to stretch that thing to a triple. Ever since then, it's 3 straight retired by Matthew Liberatore. Two balls and no strikes to Melvin Novoa. Swinging a fly ball, shallow right field. Tristan Casas into foul territory is the one to get out there and make the play. That is the first foul out of the day here in Port St. Lucie. We didn't have a single foul out in Game 1 between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Liberatore toes the rubber to square off with Juan Montes and his mustache. First pitch on the way. Montes is swinging a miss. Juan Montes hit by a pitch in his first trip to the plate. That thing is just majestic. A 1 waved at and missed. Juan is actually from Guatemala, originally, born in Guatemala City. He has spent a long time playing in Central America on the national team scale. He's played with Guatemala before. He's played in the domestic league in Nicaragua. Pitch bending into the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes on him. Originally signed by Baltimore in 2013. Debuted in the Dominican Summer League the following year in the Orioles organization. Spent the 2020 season in Nicaragua with Tren del Norte and batted .321, 26 for 81 over the course of the season. And he just misses that one, flares it back into the screen foul. Montez, if you don't like the mustache, you'd probably love the leg wear. Those socks are amazing as well. Nicaragua's got a great look, the classic blue and white that we always see from this Nicaragua national team. Those Mizuno socks, I am digging that look. Montez has got it out in right field. And Manuel Meza is rocking the high socks at first base as well. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Juan hit by a pitch in the second inning. He made it to third. He was the runner caught between third and the plate to end that inning on that weird fielder's choice play when Nicaragua got on the board, but ended up turning into 2 outs on the base paths that ended that inning. 2-2 is a breaking ball up and away. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Liberatore hitting 60 pitches for the night, 42 of them for strikes. Tall left-hander, ready to go on 3-2, and pours in strike 3 with a fastball right over the plate to end the inning. The 3rd strikeout of the day for Matthew Liberatore, all of them on called strike 3, and that closes the 4th inning. 3 up, 3 down goes Nicaragua in the 4th. That is now 5 straight retired by Liberatore since Brandon Layton's leadoff double in the 3rd. We head to the 4th. The United States, check that, head to the 5th. U.S. with a 3-1 lead over Nicaragua. We move into the top of the 5th inning. Right-hander Junior Tellez will take over on the mound. He was initially listed as number 12 on Nicaragua's roster, but a number change. Wearing the number 16 now, Tellez takes over on the hill. As Nicaragua holding tight with the United States. 3-1 lead for the U.S. through 4 innings. Matt Kemp leading things off for USA Baseball here in the top of the 5th. Kemp out of the 5 spot in the order for his team. Flew out to right field in the 1st inning. Grounded out to 3rd base leading off the 3rd. So Elvin Garcia getting the final 2 outs of the 4th. Walked a batter, struck out a batter, didn't allow anything else. Now Junior Tellez taking over for Nicaragua. Comes inside on Kemp. 3 balls and a strike. Junior Tellez will be 31 on July 1st. He hails from León in Nicaragua. He's pitched for the national team as far back as the 2010 Intercontinental Cup, and he walks Matt Kemp here to lead things off in the 5th. Tellez has also pitched for Nicaragua in the 2011 Baseball World Cup, 2014 Central American and Caribbean Games, 2015 Pan American Games, 2016 WBC qualifiers, 2017 Central American Games. Big hack and miss there as the United States goes to its bench here in the 5th inning, and Eddie Alvarez will take this at bat in place of Logan Forsythe. So the first trip to the plate in this tournament for one of the most interesting stories in this tournament, and Eddie Alvarez. Eddie swings and punches this one foul. No balls and 2 strikes on him. Eddie Alvarez trying to make it back to the Olympics with USA Baseball, and I say make it back, and maybe you think, oh, was he on the 2008 team? Is this trying to make a return late in his baseball career? No. Eddie Alvarez was a short track speed skater and won a silver medal with the United States in the Sochi Games, and is now trying to turn one of the most unique Olympic double plays in history, attempting to make it back to the Summer Games in a team sports setting, and he was with a relay and speed skating, so similar team sport context, but speed skating and baseball, not exactly the two things you would think would cross over for an athlete to go to the Olympics twice, but Eddie Alvarez could do it. Miami native waits on a 1-2 pitch and swings and skies this one to left. This is slicing away from Britton and toward the line. He'll run it down. Alvarez got some good wood on it, but nice job tracking that ball by Dwight Britton down the line. Sends Matt Kemp back to first base, and it brings up Tristan Casas. Tristan 0 for 2 so far, struck out looking to end the first inning, grounded out 4-3 to end the third. And first pitch fastball in tight on him at 89 miles an hour. A ball and no strikes. Junior Tellez pitched for Tigres to Chinandega in 2018-19, and Tren del Norte de Esteli in 2020, as Casas pulls this one down to the U.S. bullpen on the right field line. Those two teams in the Nicaraguan Professional League. Pretty good numbers in 2020, pitched in 10 games, 1-0 record, converted a save. 24 2/3 innings pitch, allowed 5 earned runs, but struck out 13, walked only 3. Right side, that's through for a base hit. Tristan Casas comes through with his first knock of the tournament. The United States with runners at first and second and 1 out in the top of the 5th. Casas, a guy who was tough to get out in the U18 Baseball World Cup 4 years ago, and now in a different and equally exciting stage of his career. He's got his first hit as a member of the professional national team for the United States. Conversation here between Marvin Bernard and our home plate umpire, Elvin Jimenez. Not sure what this is about. Bernard kind of gesturing in the direction of Mark Colesvary, the U.S. catcher, who turned around and was kind of tuned into that conversation for a minute. And now showing Elvin Jimenez something in his hip pocket or his backside pocket. And now Mike Scioscia wants an explanation, as it's the wrist guard that Mark Colesvary uses on the base paths, and Marvin Bernard, maybe some gamesmanship. Didn't want that in the backside pocket, Colesvary at the plate. So I kind of like that move from Mike Scioscia, who says, all right, you'll use it when you get to first, and throws it down to Jerry Weinstein, his first base coach. It's a good way to take control of the situation. 18-year manager of the Angels in Major League Baseball in the United States. 19-year manager, 2000 to 2018. 2002 World Series champion. 1-0 pitch. Colesvary, who homered in his last trip to the plate, singled in his first trip, takes a strike. It's 1-1. Mark currently with the AA Chattanooga Lookouts. Chattanooga, a team that was originally rumored to be one of the cuts ahead of the 2021 minor league restructuring, but a very historic franchise in minor league baseball, and that thankfully did not turn out to be the case. Lookouts, the AA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds, one of the most iconic logos in all of sports. And certainly at the minor league levels, the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2 peeping eyes inside the letter C, named after Lookout Mountain in Chattanooga, Tennessee. A little ways northwest of here in the American Southeast. 2-2 pitch is on the outside corner. A called strike 3 as Coles very frozen there on the 2-2. That is a great pitch by Junior Tellez. Will sit Coles very down. And with 2 gone, runners remain at first and second. Tellez kind of with a glance in the direction of Coles Very. That might have been for Melvin Novoa as catcher, but pumped with the strikeout, and he comes home with a terrific sidewinding breaking pitch there for strike 1 to Nick Allen out of the 9 spot. Junior Tellez, the first righty that the U.S. has seen today from that difficult sidearm angle. This one down the right field line should get out of play. It does. Nice catch down the right field line. It is just so great to see fans back in seats, catching foul balls, sharing moments with each other. We have missed this so much. No balls, 2 strikes, 0-2 pitch, and Nick Allen is able to hold up, I believe. He will. Checking his swing is affirmed by Jair Fernandez, the umpire behind the first base bag. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 gone. There's our fantastic crowd here at Clover Park tonight. Allen waiting. Matt Kemp at second. Tristan Casas at first. Fly ball, shallow right. Montez there, inning over. And the U.S. continues to strand base runners here at Clover Park. We move to the bottom of the 5th inning. The United States in the lead, out in front of Nicaragua, 3-1. And 9 for Nicaragua, moving into the bottom of the 5th inning at Clover Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida. 3-1 lead for the United States in a game that saw some early fireworks and a couple of pitchers getting settled in here in the middle innings as United States starter Matthew Liberatore puts strike 1 in to Edgar Montiel, the designated hitter and leadoff man in this inning for Nicaragua. Montiel out of the 7 spot, and Manuel Meza, the first baseman, will bat behind him, and then Benjamin Alegria, the 9-hole hitter, as the U.S. with a 3-1 lead, but Nicaragua has been able to get some good looks at Liberatore this evening. It's a sky-high fly into shallow left field. Luke Williams settles under it. That thing was so high up there. Nick Allen got almost a medium depth left and could have put that away had Luke Williams not been in better position for it. So the leadoff man retired here in the bottom of the 5th, and it sets up Manuel Meza. Coming up after this inning, a 4-minute break. International baseball rules, there is an extended break after the 5th. So if you are tuned in here in the Americas and wondering why we go to a break that's longer than you are accustomed to, that is why. United States trying to keep this lead intact headed into that longer break after 5. Matthew Liberatore approaching 70 pitches. He is at 68 right now. From the third base side of the rubber, left-hander kicks and deals. 2-1. Nice fastball. Poked foul third base side on pitch number 69 of the night. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the United States. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for Nicaragua. 2-2 on the way. Staying alive, Meza fouls that one back. I guess that knocked a beer can off of off of the concrete rail behind the plate. Breaking ball and called strike 3 for out number 2 here in the 5th. I was like, what could that reaction have possibly been? There's no way that thing got through the netting, but blasts that beer can off of the railing. No better time to drink it, man. There's that breaking ball for the called strike 3 on Emmanuel Meza. So 2 gone. And a first pitch fastball off the plate outside to Benjamin Alegria. It is, I said this in our early game today between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and I borrowed it from a hockey telecast. I think it was Pierre Maguire, the National Hockey League analyst here in the United States, who the other night during a playoff game in a packed arena just kept commenting on how feeling the fans in the building felt like a celebration of life, and it really does feel that way after everything we all have been through as a global community. And from our perspective, a global baseball and softball community with WBSC, and just seeing fans in the ballpark, seeing those moments where a beer can gets knocked off of the concrete railing behind the plate and people laugh and cheer and get to share that experience together, just feels so different and so much more meaningful these days. 2-2 pitch is tagged to left field. Racing back on it, Luke Williams to the warning track. Look it up off the top of the wall. Williams gets to it quickly. Great throw into second, but sliding in ahead of the tag is Benjamin Alegria. He's got himself a 2-out, 2-strike double. And Nicaragua with a man in scoring position here in the bottom of the 5th. That was as well played a ball off the wall as Luke Williams could possibly have made it, and a pretty good throw as well. But credit to Alegria, who hustled immediately out of the box. And I mean, if that throw is one step closer to the bag, Alegria is probably out at second. It's a good job by Eddie Alvarez to lunge back and try to get the tag on him. But Alegria lets you know as he slides in safely. Great call by Ruben Ramos right on top of it. Told Ruben at breakfast today that I would make sure that I pointed out what a great call he had if he made a great call at second, and there it is. So 1 ball, no strikes. Now on Brandon Layton back at the top of the order. 1-0 pitch off the plate. Nope, check that. Catches the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. That is the 5th hit of the day for Nicaragua against Libertor. Matthew getting close to 80 pitches now as this one fouled back to our level. And then off a couple of hops, right through the hands of one waiting fan. And turns into a souvenir for a Nicaragua fan a couple of rows lower. One-two. That in the dirt. Man, that, if you're Brandon Layton, you're probably kicking yourself a little bit right now that you didn't just stand in and let that thing hit you. No easier way to get on a hit by pitch than let one dive into the dirt and then bounce up into you, but Layton is able to dance out of the way of that one. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. Layton back in. Libertor trying to get through 5. Pitch number 81 coming up. 2-2 is just off of the plate. A fastball barely missing inside, and the count goes full. I would imagine this will be Libertor's final inning if he's able to get this out right here. Now past 80 pitches. Left-hander ready. 3-2 pitch on the way is a breaking ball that stays up high. Might have been a changeup, actually, that stayed up high for ball 4. And that puts the potential tying run aboard here in the bottom half of the 5th to set it up for Ismael Munguia. And we're going to get a visit to the mound from Dave Wallace, the pitching coach for the United States. Dave Wallace, a long-time pitching guru in baseball, but this is his first time with USA Baseball as this team's pitching coach. A 47-year career in professional baseball, 9 franchises. He's worked in the major league level, the minor league level, pitched in the professional ranks for 9 years. Worked with the Dodgers, the Mets, the Red Sox, the Astros, the Orioles. Most recently with Atlanta as a special assistant to pitching and then the director of pitching for the Atlanta farm system. And now here with USA Baseball, some quick words of wisdom from Matthew Liberatore, who goes to work with 2 outs and puts a first pitch fastball just off the outside corner, a ball and no strikes. Liberatore wanting some of these close calls, hasn't gotten him. Ismael Munguia, 1 for 2, singled on the infield to second base back in the first inning and was called out on strike 3 in the 3rd. He'll swing in line. This one out to second. What a catch by Eddie Alvarez, and the inning is over. The former Winter Olympian doing his best to become a Summer Olympian, and he ends things in the 5th. We are headed to the 6th off of Eddie Alvarez's terrific catch. The United States keeps its lead 3-1 over Nicaragua through 5 in game number 3 of the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Port St. Lucie, Florida. Who takes ball 1 and then strike 1. Williams has been on twice in 3 trips to the plate today. Walked in the first inning, sacrifice bunt in the second, And then a single to center field. He was left on base at second base in the 4th inning, and he ropes this one down to third. Knocked down by Castro, but he's going to have no play. That thing was a rocket off the bat. And Ofelio Castro a little bit frustrated with himself that he wasn't able to make that play. Luke Williams just torched that ball on a hop to Castro. And he is on with his 2nd hit of the day and his 3rd time on the bases here today. So the Philadelphia Phillies prospect validating his manager's choice to put him in the leadoff spot, as Mike Scioscia's top man in the order has been on in 75% of his trips to the plate today. And the one in which he wasn't, he advanced a couple of runners to 2nd and 3rd with a sacrifice bunt. And that brings up Jarren Duran. And, oh man, a close one over at first. But Williams back in safely. Duran singled and scored in the 1st inning. U.S. got 2 on the board in that inning, added 1 in the 4th on a solo homer by Mark Kolsvary. 3 runs on 9 hits for the United States, a run on 5 hits for Nicaragua. Jarren Duran, that hit in the 1st, his lone hit so far today, 1 for 3. Another throw over to first base, and again diving back in, Luke Williams. Duran is kind of the opposite of his Red Sox organizational teammate Tristan Casas with how closely his feet are placed together in that batter's box. Get a shot of Duran as he climbs back in. Tristan Casas is set up in the box. He is spread so wide with that 6'4" frame, and you can see Jarren Duran just like he's standing in line at the supermarket. But what's so fascinating about baseball is the load and swing as he punches this one under the glove of Manuel Meza and down the right field line. First to third, streaking into the bag, Luke Williams. And runners at the corners with nobody out on a couple of screamers. Hit to the corner infield spots to start things here in the 6th. Duran ripping this one right under the glove. I mean, off of the glove, but under the glove of Manuel Meza. They are taking a little bit longer look at this one. I would imagine it'll go up there as the 11th hit for the United States. It gives the U.S. runners at the corners for the 3, 4, 5 spots in the order as Todd Frazier steps in. First pitch, a slider is there for a called strike. That's a good-looking offering from Junior Tellez. Temperature has dipped to 78 degrees. It hit a high of about 85 here today in South Florida, here in Port St. Lucie. One slips off the outside part of the plate. Melvin Novoa held it there. Wanted to get the call, but Tellez moved it a little bit too far off the plate outside. Todd Frazier has yet to record an at-bat today. A couple of walks and a sacrifice fly. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 11-year big leaguer, 2-time All-Star with the Cincinnati Reds back in 2014 and 2015. Finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2012. Frazier waiting on a 1-2. Swings and bloops this one out toward right. Racing in is Montez, who gets there. Tagging at third and now holding. Luke Williams back to the bag. And the fly out. Frazier's first official at bat of the day. One gone. Said bloop. That was a little bit more of a drive than I initially gave it credit for. But Frazier retired on that shot the other direction. And another chance for Eric Filia, who is to the plate for the fourth time in as many trips today with runners in scoring position. And for the second time, he comes through. Filia shoots one through the right side. An RBI single, first to third, diving in head first, Jarren Duran. And the U.S. adds another one. It's 4-1 in the sixth. Eric Filia, a single through the right side in the first inning to plate a run. Couple of strikeouts to end the second and the fourth with runners in scoring position. And hunting a first pitch fastball here in the sixth. Rips that one through the right side. And the U.S. lead, the biggest it has been all day now, at 3 runs. And how about Jarren Duran hustling first to third on a hard hit ball? And with the United States piling up base runners here in the sixth, Nicaragua will head to its bullpen. The day is done for Junior Tellez. We move along in the top of the sixth. We'll tell you about the new Nicaragua arm when we return. The U.S. 4 and Nicaragua 1. Takes over on the hill for Nicaragua as we move along in the top half of the sixth inning. The United States already a run home in this inning. One out, runners at the corners, and Matt Kemp into the batter's box. First pitch on the way to him from Bucardo. A fastball on the outside corner, 90 miles an hour for a strike. Jorge Bucardo, 31 years old, from León in Nicaragua. Signed by the San Francisco Giants, made his professional debut in the minor leagues in the United States in 2007. Reached the AAA level, the highest level of the minor leagues in the U.S. in 2014. He has pitched for Nicaragua in the 2014 Central American and Caribbean Games, 2015 Pan American Games, 2017 Central American Games. And he's ahead of former National League All-Star Matt Kemp. No balls and 2 strikes. Kemp over 2 with a walk. Time called out by one of the umpires. I think that was Ruben Ramos at second base who called time there. 0-2 pitch on the way to Kemp. Bouncing this one down to Darren Fenster, his third base coach. Matt Kemp most recently in the major leagues with the Colorado Rockies last season. But a long-time member of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Also saw some time with the San Diego Padres in his career, a 3-time National League All-Star. 0-2 on the way, off the plate outside. Runner moving from first. That's going to be an easy stolen base for Eric Filia. Filia got a good jump, and even had Melvin Novoa caught that pitch cleanly, I think Filia might be in there at second regardless. So it's 1-2. Kemp, I think pretty much everybody would agree now that he should have been the 2011 National League Most Valuable Player. Finished second in that year's voting to Ryan Braun of the Milwaukee Brewers. 1-2 on the way to him, off the plate outside. Kemp also saw time with Atlanta, 2016 and 2017. He was back with the Dodgers in 2018. He was with the Cincinnati Reds for 20 games in 2019, and then played 43 games with Colorado last season. 745 OPS for him. And what right now is his most recent major league season. 2-2 pitch on the way to him, and that one is off of his bat as he kind of tried to get out of the way of it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jorge Bucardo coming on after 3 of the first 4 reached in this inning against Junior Tellez. Trying to get his team out of a jam. Runners at second and third. Jaron Duran at third base, Eric Filia right behind him. 2-2 on the way to Kemp. Is off of the plate away. And the count is full now at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Matt Kemp, 36 years old, from Midwest City, Oklahoma, a former 6th-round pick of the Los Angeles Dodgers out of high school. 3-2. Swings and skies it to shallow right, racing in Montes. Long run, and he'll get there to put it away. Tagging at third is Duran, but no chance for him to score. So 2 flyouts that way. With the runners retreating to second and third, it brings up Eddie Alvarez. And it also brings Marvin Bernard from the third base dugout as Nicaragua looks like it will head to the bullpen once more. Lefty throwing down the left field line. And finally, Bernard will give the signal and bring on Harvin Talavera from the Nicaragua bullpen. We'll tell you more about Talavera when we return as the United States continues to threaten here in the 6th. Nicaragua trying to get out of the jam, trailing it 4-1 in Port St. Lucie. United States here in the top of the 6th inning. Nicaragua going to its bullpen once more. And bringing on the left-hander Harvin Talavera. Talavera, who has pitched in the domestic league in Nicaragua for the last couple of years. 23 years old. Pitched for Indios de Boer in 2019. Tigres de Chinandega in 2020. And the first pitch on the way to Eddie Alvarez is popped into shallow left center. Racing back out for it is Brandon Layton, and he gets there to make the catch on the run and bring the inning to a close. The United States puts a couple of runners in scoring position after plating a tally earlier in the 6th, but that is all that the U.S. will get. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th inning. United States 4 and Nicaragua 1. Right-hander reliever Brandon Dixon will take over on the mound for the U.S. as we move into the bottom of the 6th inning back in Port St. Lucie, Florida, at the spring training home and player development home of the New York Mets, Clover Park. The day is done for U.S. starter Matthew Liberatore, who pitched 5 really good innings for the U.S. Dixon, first pitch into the leadoff man, Ofelio Castro. 1 pitch, 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom of the 6th inning as that one tracked down the right field line by Eric Filia. 1 gone. Get you the final numbers. On Matthew Liberatore here in a moment as a pinch hitter for Nicaragua, Isaac Bernard. The son of Nicaragua's manager, Marvin Bernard, the former longtime San Francisco Giant. Dwight Britton, the starting left fielder, out of the cleanup spot. His evening is done. One-0 pitch there for a called strike. Final line for Matthew Liberatore in this game. 5 innings for the U.S. left-hander. 5 hits, 1 run it was earned. 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. Overtor finishes his first start of the tournament with 86 pitches, 55 for strikes. Two 2-1 on the way. Dixon gets a grounder foul off the bat of Bernard. Isaac Bernard, born in Arizona during his father's major league career. Drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays in the 23rd round in 2016. Swings and can't get a piece on 2-2. He's gone on strikes. Brandon Dixon's first strikeout of his relief appearance. And with 2 gone, that'll bring up Melvin Novoa. Brandon Dixon is the only returnee from the United States Premier 12 roster in 2019. Veteran pitcher who has worked at every level of the minor leagues in the United States and has made it to the major league level in 2 different countries. Pitched for the St. Louis Cardinals in the U.S. in 2011 and 2012, and has also pitched in Nippon Professional Baseball in Japan for several seasons. First went to the Oryx Buffaloes in 2013 and pitched there every year until this past season in 2020. He's not back there in 2021, but is hoping to return to Japan with the United States for the Tokyo Olympics. And you pitch like that and your team makes it through, you certainly will. A couple of strikeouts in the inning. Brandon Dixon looking good as he fans Melvin Novoa on 3 pitches. And we move to the 7th. The United States with a 3-run lead over Nicaragua in game number 3 of the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Florida. Four to 1 is our score. The United States out in front of Nicaragua as we move into the top half of the 7th inning at Clover Park in the U.S. state of Florida. Game number 3 of the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier. The U.S. has had the lead since its first trip to the plate in the top of the first inning, but these Nicaragua fans pretty confident that this game is not over yet. They have been so into it from pitch number 1 and outnumbering the United States fans this evening, I believe, at least in terms of the noise that they have created, as first pitch swinging Tristan Casas rips one foul down the right field line. Arvin Talavera back out there for his first full inning of work. There's no better feeling than getting a baseball at a ball game. Casas chokes up on 0-2. Talavera kicks and deals, and a swing and a drive to right field. That will get down for a base hit. Cut off by Juan Montes, and Casas will hold with a single. So 0 for 2 to start his night, and Tristan has since singled twice. He is 2 for 4. The U.S. with 12 hits. That brings up Mark Colesberry. Colesberry hits in his first 2 trips to the plate. Single in the first inning. And a leadoff homer to dead center field off the batter's eye in the 4th. 2 balls and no strikes on the Cincinnati Reds prospect. Mark Colesbury, a 7th-round draft selection of the Reds back in 2017. And another Florida guy from Eustis, Florida, and a University of Florida product as he skies this one into right field. Long run for Juan Montes, who's really gotten his exercise in over the last couple of innings. And actually, check that. As you can see, Montes replaced in right field. That is Norlando Valle now out there. So 1 gone, and Nick Allen into the box. Pitch there for a called strike to him. Allen from San Diego, California originally, 22 years old. Drafted in 2017. He has climbed very steadily in the Oakland Athletics organization ever since then. Played at low Class A in 2018, high A in 2019. Of course, no minor league baseball season, as there were no seasons across many leagues on the baseball landscape in 2020. But back at it in 2021 and starting off with Double-A Midland in the Double-A Central League. 18 games in, 275, 358, 377, his slash line. 2-1 pitch to him. Rifles this one the other way. That found a little area down in the corner that those kids can't get to. Unfortunately, it clanked off of the railing. Oh, I guess somebody could get to it. Industrious fans. And when you're like 9, hopping fences is nothing. The pitch just misses. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nice work. Nice work, young fella. It hit off of the railing up on the concourse level and kind of ricocheted down into that well down in the right field corner. 3-2 pitch. Lifted that direction again. This one back onto the concourse. That hit one of the high top tables. Springs down by Mulligan's Beach House. Sessions stand down the right field line. Kind of like the matte finish to these USA Baseball helmets for this America's qualifier here. 3-2 pitch. Allen lifts it in the air and well hit to left field. Moving back to the warning track, reaching out at the last second to make the grab is Isaac Bernard, who came on as the pinch hitter last inning. Great catch on the move. And that is out number 2. Isaac Bernard summoned off the bench to pinch hit last inning for Dwight Britton, and nice job to make that catch and then brace himself, flying in toward the wall. So 2 outs now. Since Tristan Casas' leadoff single, we'll go back to the top of the order, and Luke Williams, who's been aboard in 3 of his 4 plate appearances today. 2 for 2, a walk, a sacrifice bunt, a couple of runs scored. A good day for the Philadelphia Phillies prospect, Luke Williams. Talavera trying to get out of this inning after allowing the leadoff single to Tristan Casas. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 coming home. That one is there for a strike at 79 miles an hour. Big cut and miss on the 2-1. Two balls, two strikes, two gone. Pitch on the way to Williams. Bends too far inside and puts the count full. Marvin Talavera needed just one pitch to get out of last inning after entering against Eddie Alvarez. (3-2). Skied back our direction. (7-0) lead for Canada. Top of the 9th inning in Game 2 of Group B play. Williams skies this one down the right field line and foul. Valiant effort to make the catch with the hat by that guy in the yellow shirt. Never an easy play. The catch with the hat. Catch with the hat, you really got to be able to like lean out over a railing and make that. It's very difficult on a driving fly ball your direction to make the catch with the hat. 3-2. Right back toward us, and unfortunately, just off of the facing of this upper level. I would have had it if it was like 5 feet more directly behind the plate. Totally would have made the play. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 gone. Luke Williams trying to extend this inning and get it to Jarren Duran here in the 7th. 3-2 is on the way and fouled straight back into the screen. Cool breezes started to blow here in Port St. Lucie as we approach 10 o'clock in the evening, and the 3-2 is up and away to Luke Williams, who is on for the 4th time today. He has been fantastic out of the leadoff spot for the U.S. His 2nd walk to go along with 2 hits, 2 runs scored, and a sacrifice bunt. That brings up Jarren Duran, who's got 2 singles of his own today. And a visit to the mound from Cairo Murillo. So Canada wrapping up its victory here pretty quickly. Not quite done, but top of the 9th inning and 1 out, although Colombia now threatening runners at 1st and 3rd. (7-0) the score. Canada, very efficient day. 7 runs on 8 hits and 1 error. And oh, by the way, just noticed Canada is throwing a no-hitter. If our live stats are correct, Andrew Albers with 7 innings of no-hit ball. Brendan McGuigan with an inning. And Ben Onishko out of the Canada bullpen trying to finish off a combined no-hitter. We'll keep you updated on that. First pitch on the way on the outside corner to Jarren Duran from Talavera. Duran, a couple of singles. Back up the middle in the first inning. And reach on a single off the glove of Manuel Meza in the sixth. He lifts this one to shallow center. Moving back on it is Layton. In is Munguia, and Munguia almost over in shallow left makes the catch. And that retires the United States side here in the seventh. We head to the bottom of the seventh inning. The U.S. hanging on to the lead. It's 4-1 over Nicaragua in game number 3 of the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Florida. It is all done in Group B play at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches in West Palm Beach, and Canada has thrown a combined no-hitter to kick things off in Group B. A 7-0 win, blanking Colombia in the run and hit column. Congratulations to Andrew Albers, Brendan McGuigan, and Ben Onishko, who combined to no-hit Colombia. So a tremendous start to the Americas qualifier for a veteran-laden Canada squad. And here in Port St. Lucie, the United States would be content to just get 9 more outs and get into the win column as well. Leading Nicaragua 4-1. What a start for Canada. Andrew Albers, the crafty veteran, 7 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. Only needed 90 pitches to do that, 66 of them for strikes. Setting the early tone as Canada finishes off a no-hitter. And an attempt at a check swing there by the leadoff man, Orlando Valle. Here in the bottom of the 7th, he's unable to hold up. Valle retired. And that will bring in a pinch hitter in the 7 spot in the lineup. Built on Calderon. In the DH spot in the order. Says 3 straight strikeouts prior to this pitch for Brandon Dixon, and this ball crushed in the air to right center. And Eric Filia, we talked about how Filia was so perfectly positioned to make a play on a liner his direction back in the 2nd inning. That one he was shaded a little bit over the other direction from where he needed to be to make the play on that ball, and still did. Ran it all the way down in right center. So Calderon gives it a ride, but Filia and Jarren Duran converging, and Filia gets there to make the grab, and with 2 outs, brings up Manuel Meza. So again, a big congratulations to Baseball Canada, kicking off the Baseball Americas qualifier with a combined no-hitter at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Two outs, bases empty, 2 balls and no strikes on Meza. (2-0). Grooved in a fastball for a called strike 1. Fastball missing away on 2-1. 3-1 pitch into center. Karen Duran tracking and easily making the play. And a quick and easy bottom of the 7th for Brandon Dixon. 3 up, 3 down for the second straight frame. 6 straight retired by Dixon since he entered this game. And we will move to the 8th. United States with a 4-1 lead over Nicaragua in game number 3 of the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Florida. 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the United States as we move into the top of the 8th inning back at Clover Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida. 4-1 is the lead. The U.S. has led this game since the top of the 1st. A couple of runs there, another one in the 4th and another in the 6th for the United States. Lone run of the game for Nicaragua came in the bottom of the 2nd as Osman Gutierrez takes over on the mound for Nicaragua. And he will face Todd Frazier to get things started here in the 8th. My name is Tyler Maughan. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Monday evening, Memorial Day here in the United States. As the Americas qualifier opens here in Port St. Lucie and also in West Palm Beach, Florida, the spring training homes of the New York Mets here, and the Washington Nationals and Houston Astros at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. One ball and one strike on Todd Frazier. 4-1. U.S. out in front, trying to wrap up an orderly win. Steady start in this game for Matthew Liberatore. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. It was earned, a walk and 4 strikeouts. One-two pitch, bending into the dirt. I've not heard who the U.S. starter for game 2 will be. Each of these managers kind of handling things a little differently in terms of who is available in what situations, all of that. We would imagine Edwin Jackson will probably be high on the list for Mike Scioscia. One of the veterans on this U.S. team. There was a great note in an Associated Press story about this U.S. roster in regards, this one is lifted to the shortstop position on the infield, and a pop out, an adventurous pop out there for Todd Frazier, but Brandon Layton puts him away. United States 28-man roster for the Premier 12 tournament in Mexico and Japan had a combined 2.1 career wins above replacement. The metric kind of gives you an idea of how much better a certain player is than a quote-unquote replacement level player. This current roster has about 124 career wins above replacement. Now, granted, some of that has come from the earlier days of players' careers for some of the veterans on this roster. Todd Frazier and Matt Kemp, 2 of the 3 guys due to the plate in this inning, maybe being among that group. There's no doubt this is a much older roster than what the U.S. had in Premier 12. And that Premier 12 group still made it to the bronze medal game and was within 3 outs of wrapping up a trip to the Olympics before Mexico rallied in the 9th and 10th to take a win over the U.S. and a trip to Tokyo for the Olympics with it. 1-1 popped up, shallow left, racing in Bernard, foul ground to make the grab, 2 gone. And that'll bring up Kemp. Matt Kemp, 36 years old, 0 for 3 so far tonight. A walk back in the 5th inning. A couple of flyouts to right field and a ground ball to second base, and a first pitch strike to him. It's 0-1. Goes around half-heartedly on the 0-1 breaking ball. No balls and 2 strikes on Kemp. Four runs on 12 hits for the United States, no errors. 1 run on 5 hits for Nicaragua. Also no errors. 0-2 pitch on the way. Fastball off the plate outside. The United States trying to match the Dominican Republic's 1-0 start today. 1-2 called, strike 3. Kemp takes a fastball at the knees over the outside part of the plate. And that'll do it for the U.S. Retired in order here in the 8th. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. United States with a 3-run lead over Nicaragua. New arm into the game for the United States. We move into the bottom of the 8th inning. Anthony Gose will take over on the mound. Gose, an outfielder, converted to the pitcher's mound. And a super live arm. Left-handed throwing former outfielder, now 30 years old, and his first pitch at 99 miles per hour right out of the gate. 1 ball and no strikes. Goes in the Cleveland organization these days. Formerly, remember the Toronto Blue Jays system. It's counted a ball and 2 strikes. Gose made his major league debut with Toronto back in 2012, July 17th. Swinging a pop-up here on the infield. Gose will get out of the way as Casas will do the same. And Eddie Alvarez, man, trips over the mound, but makes the catch. That thing was straight up the chute. As Benjamin Alegria is retired, and we'll go back to the top of the order. And Brandon Layton. Gose played parts of 5 major league seasons as an outfielder with the Blue Jays, and over 372 games, batted .240, .309, .348. But he has since made the conversion to the pitcher's mound. Puts in a 98-mile-an-hour fastball there, just missing the zone to make it 1-1. Gose first started pitching in the Detroit Tigers system back in 2017. Another pop-up, this one back toward us once more. Gose was with the Tigers as an outfielder in 2016. And then shifted to the pitcher's mound. Swinging a shot foul down the right field line. A lot of late swings on these fastballs coming in the upper 90s. Pitched with Lakeland in 2017. Then he was in the Texas system in 2018. Pitched for the High A Down East Wood Ducks and the Double A Frisco Rough Riders in 2018. 2019, shifted to the Cleveland system. Also pitched in the Puerto Rican Winter League and the Dominican Winter League in 2019-20 and the 2020-21 seasons. Another late swing and a bouncer the other way. Turns into an out. And this year, in the Cleveland organization, he's with AAA Columbus. So far, 6 appearances for Ghost, including a start, 5.68 ERA. A 1-0 record as well. Breaking ball into the dirt. 1 ball, no strikes. And that pitch way up and in. Catches Munguia and could not feel good in the upper 90s. Ismael Munguia trying to walk it off in front of his team's dugout. So hit by pitch puts Munguia on. With 2 gone, brings up Ophelio Castro. I would imagine you do not dig in too deeply into the batter's box. This is not Castro, it's a pinch hitter, Omar Obregon. But you see a dude in front of you get plunked with 98. Probably not a real comfortable at bat. One cut on and missed. Ball and 2 strikes. And a big hack and miss on 1 and 2. And that retires the side. So Anthony Ghost faces 4 hitters. Retires 3, strikes out 1, and we move to the 9th. The United States 4 and Nicaragua 1 in game number 3, the WBSC Baseball Americas qualifier from Florida. See, Florida, the United States trying to add some insurance to its 3-run lead, 4-1 the score as we head into the final frame of regulation baseball. Back inside the press box at Clover Park, spring training home of the New York Mets. And the home to Group A play here on day 1 of the Baseball Americas qualifier in 2021. 4-1 U.S. with the lead. World's number 2 out in front of world number 15, Nicaragua. Eddie Alvarez, the fleet-footed Miami Marlins farmhand, trying to lay down a bunt to get things started for his team here in the top of the 9th inning. Pushing that one foul. Osman Gutierrez, the 5th reliever out of the bullpen for Marvin Bernard today. Count even on Alvarez. Eddie came into the game back in the 5th inning as a pinch hitter in place of Logan Forsythe. Not sure if that was just to get Alvarez some at-bats here on day number 1. One pitch, dives into the strike zone, put the count even. Eddie Alvarez made his major league debut last year with Miami. Told you about his Olympic success in 2014 in Sochi, winning a silver medal with the 5,000-meter short track relay team. When he made his major league debut last year, he became the first Winter Olympian to also play Major League Baseball since Jim Thorpe did so back in the early part of the 20th century. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 pitch is ball 4, and Alvarez is aboard to lead things off in the 9th. And that will bring up Tristan Casas. Casas is the top-ranked Boston Red Sox prospect. Started his day with a strikeout to end the first inning and a ground out to second base to end the third. Since then, a couple of singles, both through the right side. One on a rope to right field in his last trip to the plate. That was in the 7th. Still just 21 years old. Tristan takes a 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes. The vast majority of this crowd is stuck around. Nicaragua's fans hoping their team's got something in it for the bottom of the 9th inning. United States, if it is able to hang on today, will face today's other Group A winner coming up tomorrow in the night game at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches in West Palm Beach, Florida. USA and the Dominican Republic will get going at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Group B will be here tomorrow. Colombia, still in search of its first hit of the tournament, will take on Group B winner Venezuela, which knocked off Cuba 6-5 in a thriller. That'll be our early game coming up at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then in the night game, Canada fresh off of a no-hitter, combined no-hitter today against Colombia. Canada will take on Cuba at 7 o'clock, 3-1. Runner bluffs from first, and that's ball 4. Eddie Alvarez trotting back to the first base bag, but he'll get to pick up his feet and head to second. First 2 on for Mark Colesberry now, who belted a leadoff homer back in the 4th inning. Colesberry big cut and miss on the first pitch from Gutierrez. Osman Gutierrez out of Leon, originally signed by the Toronto Blue Jays. Pitched from 2012 to 2017 in the Blue Jays system, and then made 3 appearances in the Miami Marlins system in 2017. Only made it to full season ball in 2017. He's still just 26 years old. Oh, 1. Colesberry to left field, but moving back on it, Isaac Bernard to make the catch. Bernard has been busy out there, tagging at second, digging for third. Eddie Alvarez with that swift speed is able to race in. Isaac Bernard has been getting all kinds of work out in left since he entered this game a few innings ago. But Eddie Alvarez, that's that skill set that he's got above maybe everybody else on this roster. There are some guys who can run, but Eddie Alvarez has terrific speed. And he puts himself 1 station away now with 1 out for Nick Allen. Allen takes the first pitch for a strike. Nick 1 for 4 to start his tournament. Singled to center field back in the 2nd inning. Flyouts to each of the outfielders ever since. Went to center field in the 4th, right field in the 5th, and left field in the 7th. 0-1, squares and makes contact with that one, but just sends it back behind the plate. No balls and 2 strikes. This would be a save situation unless the U.S. can add a run here. Trying to get a look at who is throwing down the line in the Americans' bullpen as the 0-2 is laced that direction. Two on the way again to Nick Allen. Swing and a miss. Big second out of the inning there for Osman Gutierrez. His second strikeout since entering at the start of the 8th. That'll send it back to the top of the order. And Luke Williams. Williams has been an on-base machine today for the U.S., and he bunts with 2 outs, sends it third base side, and he's going to reach, and the throw gets away up the right field line. Alvarez has scored. Casas is flying around third. He gets the stop sign there. Williams will dig back into second, and the United States has added that insurance run. It is now a 4-run lead at 5-1 here in the 9th. I believe that will go as a bunt single for Williams, with an error that allows him to go to second, because I think Williams was going to be there anyway. Yeah, certainly would have been there. It scores Eddie Alvarez. And Tristan Casas is able to move up 2 stations, and now Jarren Duran with a chance to break this thing wide open. U.S. with a 4-run lead here in the 9th. And Duran with 2 in scoring position swings and doesn't get it. That is a gutsy move. Luke Williams laying the bunt down. But with his speed, knowing he could beat it out. And in these types of tournaments, every run matters, every situation matters. Because there is only so much time. And it's only 3 days of group play to open this tournament here in the opening round. Top 2 teams from each group will move on to the Super Round. They will carry their head-to-head record on into the Super Round. And the team with the best Super Round record will be declared the winner. And we'll move on to the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Baseball Tournament. 1-1 pitch. Got to be able to get all 27 outs in a tournament like this, and if you're on the other side, got to be able to maximize every offensive chance you get before expending all those outs. Mike Scioscia's team coming through with a big run here in the 9th. That was longtime USA Baseball coaching veteran Ernie Young, a gold medalist in 2000, below Scioscia there on your screen. As this one shot out over the leaping Brandon Layton and into left field for a base hit. That will bring home 2. Jarren Duran does break it open in the 9th, and the U.S. with a 7-1 lead. 2-run single for Jarren Duran right on the heels of the run-scoring bunt single by Luke Williams. And the United States taking its lead from 3 runs to 6 runs here in the 9th inning. Osman Gutierrez finally able to get the final out of this inning. A couple of walks to lead off the inning. The U.S. cashes in both, as Todd Frazier's flyout will end things in the 9th. But the Americans add 3 And the United States head to the bottom of the ninth with a 7-1 lead over Nicaragua in game number 3 of the Baseball Americas qualifier from Port St. Lucie, Florida. Bottom of the ninth inning, a 7-1 lead for the United States as the American manager Mike Scioscia will go to his bullpen for what he hopes is the final time this evening. Mark Zepchinski takes over on the pitcher's mound with the U.S. comfortably out in front. A 4-1 lead going into the top of the ninth, now a 7-1 lead here in the bottom half. Zepchinski, the left-hander. .35 years old, born in Oak Lawn, Illinois, and a guy who made the major leagues back on July 7th of 2009 as a 23-year-old with the Toronto Blue Jays. It's also pitched in the big leagues with Cleveland, St. Louis, Seattle, Oakland, San Diego, and Washington. 10-year major league career. Last time we saw Zepchinski in a major league uniform was 2018 as he fans Isaac Bernard here. And despite the throw escaping over the head of Todd Frazier out into left field, still strikeout number 1 for Zepchinski. Breaking ball diving away from Bernard, who's over 2 with a couple of strikeouts since coming on as a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 6th. One ball, no strikes to Melvin Novoa. Novoa had a hit in his first trip to the plate back in the 2nd inning, and he scored the lone run of the night for Nicaragua. Single to center field, went to second base on a hit by pitch for Juan Montes behind him. Went to third on a single by Edgar Montiel, and then scored on Benjamin Allegra's weird fielder's choice play that resulted in the final 2 outs of the inning, but not before Nicaragua scored its first and only run of the night, as Novoa bounces out to Tristan Casas over at first, and Nicaragua down to its final out. 7-1, the U.S. out in front, 7 runs on 14 hits and no errors for the United States, a run on 5 hits and 1 error for Nicaragua. And the U.S. with 1 more out, trying to set up a matchup of 1-0 teams tomorrow against the Dominican Republic in West Palm Beach. Zepchinski comes setting his first pitch home to an Orlando Valle. Is there for a called strike 1. Valle came on a few innings ago as a defensive replacement in right field for Juan Montes. That pitch low and away, 1-1. One offering fouled at the plate, a ball and 2 strikes. Nicaragua down to its final strike this evening. Zepchinski trying to get his team into a handshake line. Veteran lefty kicks and comes home on 1-2, and a bouncing ball right side. Should be an easy play for Eddie Alvarez, and it is, and the United States is 1-0 after day 1 of the Baseball Americas qualifier. Our final score, the U.S. 7 and Nicaragua 1. 7 runs on 14 hits and no errors for the United States. 1 run on 5 hits and 1 error for Nicaragua. And the U.S. moves on to face the Dominican Republic. Each team at 1-0 headed into tomorrow's play in Group A. That's the night game in West Palm Beach tomorrow. Day game for the West Palm Beach host site, Nicaragua and Puerto Rico. Each team 0-1 coming out of the day today. And here in St. Lucie tomorrow, a matchup of 0-1 Colombia and 1-0 Venezuela will get us started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then Canada will take on Cuba. Canada coming off of a dominant 7-0 victory, throwing a combined no-hitter. It will square off with Cuba coming up at 7 o'clock. The United States, 7-1 winners over Nicaragua on the opening day of the Baseball Americas qualifier from St. Lucie. My name is Tyler Mon. We'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon for Colombia and Venezuela from Clover Park here in Port St. Lucie, Florida.